Tonight, if you live in Iran, you'll probably want to stay underground.
Today will be, once again, our most intense day of attacks inside Iran. The largest number of fighters, the largest number of bombers, the largest number of strikes. The intelligence is more refined and better than ever.
Now we take off with the most lethal weapon of the United States, the B-52 Doomsday bombers, which carry 32 tons of armament, such as missiles, 13-ton bunker buster bombs, and even nuclear weapons. This is the first time Doomsday has been used since the war began. This is what the president means when he says they haven't seen anything yet. Iran's missile launches have dropped by 92%. They went from 420 per day last week to an average of only 45. We're shooting down the missiles and destroying the launch platforms. The Iranians are also losing allies.
It was a big mistake for the Iranian regime to start attacking their neighbors right away, showing who they are and what they're about. Indiscriminate attacks, targeting without any criteria, acting uncontrollably right from the start. I can't say that we necessarily predicted they would react exactly like this, but we knew it was a possibility. This demonstrates the desperation of that regime and the current one, who still believe that the solution is to alienate their Arab partners, who, on the contrary, have decided to get closer to us.
Attention, the Ayatollahs are isolated and their allies are falling. Israel eliminated the leader of Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Houthis have disappeared, and Hamas has so far respected the ceasefire. Meanwhile, the performance of the Iranian military, as the chief of the Joint Staff says, is described as poetic.
Those jets are fully loaded with missiles and bombs and form an elite team, along with the naval aviation and the pilots of those jets. That beautiful symphony of the American spirit is the definition of perfectly organized chaos. They are dedicated young people who choose the road less traveled to serve their great nation.
We hit over 5,000 targets in Iran. Their air force is gone. Their navy was sunk. The arsenal was demolished now because in a few years they would have integrated those weapons into their nuclear program, and it would have been too dangerous and too expensive for us to attack.
The regime intended to use this growing ballistic missile threat to make it impossible to stop their nuclear weapon. The situation was evolving quickly, reaching the point of no return, and the United States found this intolerable.
Since Carter, presidents knew that the Iranian regime wanted to shout death to America. Obama gave them money, they promised not to develop nuclear weapons, took the funds, but still developed weapons and missiles. Biden tried to stop them and bribe them, but even so, they enriched uranium and stockpiled missiles. Disarming Iran has been Siliua's policy for decades. Finally, Trump took action.
The president also stated from the beginning that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it's one thing to say that, it's easy to talk. Anyone can say that. I mean, Barack Obama said that. But doing something about it takes courage and determination. But in that courage and determination, you can also be very focused on what you're trying to accomplish. To ensure that the sacrifice of Americans, American treasure, American lives, all of that really serves the purpose you're trying to achieve.
The president avoids an endless war. Iran kept negotiating while waging a war against us, but the president says this will end soon. The remnants of the regime beg for peace with Trump over the phone, but in public they make harsh threats. An Iranian security official warned, "Be careful not to get eliminated yourself." They also threaten oil exports, saying not a single leader can leave the Strait, but the government is not joking.
If they do anything to disrupt the flow of oil or goods in the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the most powerful armed forces in the world, 20 times stronger than they have been so far.
Iranians can't close the Strait, but threats scare oil tanker insurers. CNN, citing sources, says the rest of the Iranian forces plan to sink the ships.
We have some important breaking news. CNN is reporting that Iran has started laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. That's according to two people familiar with the matter.
Raising Cane vetoed the action and bombed 16 mining ships still in the port. When the Iranian Navy leaves the coast, they go down like a cocaine boat in the Caribbean. Today, the market stabilized and oil dropped 9% to $86 a barrel, $40 below yesterday's highs. The mullahs won't mine the Strait and get away with it. 20% of the world's oil passes through there. Oil producers have other options. Ghost tankers, they turn off their radars and cross, and our allies have plans. The Saudis send a large part of their oil north to the Red Sea. The Strait was closed for days. It was the biggest oil disruption in history, and Trump managed to reopen it. In addition, the president announced that we are going to open the first new American refinery in 50 years, a $300 billion plant in Brownsville, Texas. And we got India to build it. Iran, in Baghdad Bob's territory, says, we have the Americans exactly where we want them.
He said it. Right now, Iran is preparing for a long war. He said that at this moment, he doesn't see any room for diplomacy between Iran and the United States, and I found that quite interesting. That it will be Iran who will end this war. Iran will define and determine when this war ends. So clearly, the Iranians believe that at this moment, they are entrenched. They say they've replenished their leadership.
The commander slightly disagrees, says he is in full control, ahead of schedule, and that the war will end soon. We just haven't won enough yet. Their leadership has been decapitated. All branches of the armed forces have been decimated. We have total air supremacy, and their economic warfare strategy has been neutralized. And tonight, the doomsday bomber is going to pay a little visit to the Iranian capital. But the Democrats say it's a quagmire. We lost.
We have a math problem here. Regime change didn't happen. The Ayatollah's son could be worse than his father. The president said last summer we obliterated the nuclear weapons they had and the uranium. That wasn't the case because now they're talking about ground operations to remove what's left. So from a strategic point of view, I can't see what was actually achieved.
It took us 10 years to get bin Laden, 6 years to get Hitler, 2 years to get Milosevic, 9 months to get Saddam, 8 months to get Gaddafi. And we eliminated the Ayatollah in 50 seconds and destroyed the entire Iranian army in less than a week. And the Democrats say we didn't achieve much. Former Clinton pollster Mark Penn said the following: "The press is a bombardment of negativity, favoring the Iranian regime. It's intriguing. At this moment, since any success is covered up, the reality is that the regime is probably being attacked from all sides. Operation Epic Fury is carrying out a mission that has been ongoing for almost 50 years. Of course, there have been mistakes. Yes, there have been casualties. And yes, the price of oil has skyrocketed. But Americans shouldn't lie about a war. You can disagree with a war, but not with the war effort. It is being carried out excellently. The commander-in-chief kept the United Arab Alliance together, calmed the markets, reopened the Strait, and destroyed the world's biggest state sponsor of terrorism in 9 days. I don't want to brag,
But, they've said that about a lot of things. No one else could do the tricks I do.